Iverson, she was on The Hill Rising, and she took the opportunity to talk about the back and forth between AOC and Tucker Carlson when Tucker Carlson decided to go super creepy and say how AOC was putting out a video about how she's alone and maybe it's a booty call. So when you have to defend something like this, you have to ratchet it up and compare it to something that's huge, something that people will be worried about, saying this is gonna be a problem if AOC continues to push back on this kind of rhetoric and creepy behavior from Tucker Carlson. And neo-Nazism is all played out and comparing it to. Let's compare it to Charlie Hebdo. Watch.
You could only agree with her or shut up. You certainly aren't allowed to make fun of her. If you make fun of her, it's violence and you're a predator. This is exactly the mentality of those who stormed into Charlie Hebdo and massacred the journalists who dared to make fun of the Prophet Muhammad. AOC has a choice to make. She can either take a stand to protect our First Amendment and journalists' right to criticize and make fun of political leaders, including her, or she can continue to influence her millions of followers into believing the First Amendment needs amending away from free speech and instead towards what she considers right speech. And that to me, guys, is the biggest issue with this squabble between them. It's, Tucker does this Tucker stuff.
Think about that last part. Tucker does this Tucker stuff. She actually, this is my opinion, I don't think she actually has any agreement with what Tucker did there. I'm sure she's gone through some harassment because nearly every woman has, and probably doesn't feel too good about what has happened and seen happen to other folks. But in this case, you have to have some kind of way to defend him, or at least say that her response to his Tucker behavior, which maybe she doesn't agree with, but AOC has done worse. If we don't demonize the person that we need to make sure is the boogeyman for every other future discussion, debate, conversation, legislation, it's just not worth it, right? So no matter what the conversation is, AOC is limiting your First Amendment rights because her feelings got hurt, apparently, from a guy who literally on air said, I'm thinking about a booty call with AOC. And if anyone else said it, it's how disgusting is that? Where'd you get that from? Because no one else did. Now, really fast, because I want to remind you guys what he did say. Let's watch this really fast again.
Me to retire. By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even perceive how creepy it was. I'm alone today, Ocasio-Cortez says pointedly at the camera. Is it just us, or does that sound like an invitation to a booty call? Maybe one step from what are you wearing? Either way, it's a little strange. It's definitely oversharing.
Okay, so by the way, maybe Kim is right. AOC does need some thicker skin. She's an elected official. You're gonna get some pushback. There's gonna be people that don't agree with your legislation. There's people that are just not gonna agree with all these things you always say. You're always putting yourself out there. You're always on Instagram, you're always on Twitter, and you're always making these speeches. So you're gonna get some pushback, right? You're a United States representative. Maybe, or maybe you're this guy. Let's look at this headline from just last June. As they discovered Trump wanted his Justice Department to stop SNL from teasing him, Now she did mention make fun of, AOC should be able to be allowed to make fun of by journalists. Tucker Carlson's not one, but should be made fun of. So more from the Daily Beast on that. In 2019, Mr. Trump asked the White House aides and lawyers whether the Department of Justice or the Federal Communications Commission could investigate SNL along with other late night shows that ridiculed him. The shows, his advertisers explained, were all clearly satirical, which meant that they were protected as free speech under that First Amendment that apparently AOC is trying to subvert. He also tweeted about it. He wasn't hiding it. It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, Not Funny, No Talent, can spend all their time knocking the same person, me, God, we don't need any more of your clarifications, over and over without so much as a mention of the other side. The former president tweeted, as at the time when he was mad about them making fun of him, should FEC and or the FCC look into this? There must be collusion with the Democrats and of course, Russia. Yeah, he must have been joking on that part. And according to the Beast report, Mr. Trump also singled out late night comedy host Jimmy Kimmel for daring to make fun of him as well. But as aides repeatedly told former President Trump, neither SNL or Jimmy Kimmel Live could be punished for satirizing the president. Still, he said to them, can something else be done about it? This guy, man, no lie. We just talked about his new Truth Social, and one of the main rules is don't make fun of me. You'll be kicked off this free speech platform if you make fun of me. None of that has to be taken into account as long as we're making a boogeyman that we've already made out of AOC, and that anything else that she says, proposes, mentions, pushes back on, defends herself over, it's just BS because she's against your First Amendment rights. Please talk to your former president because he's still on that.